It's Tuesday, April 20, and this is your Barbados Today Evening News Update. The Queen Elizabeth Hospital reports that 10 of its security officers have tested positive for COVID 19. The finding, a result of a rigorous contact tracing exercise after one member of the hospital's security team, who was a contact of a case linked to the church cluster in the north, first tested positive last Friday. The QA8 says the 10 cases were revealed from the testing of 85 security personnel, along with the housekeeping staff assigned to the security department. They are all now in quarantine and will be retested on Thursday. The QEH assures all work areas have been deep cleaned, and the officers will again receive special training from Dr. Corey Ford, head of the hospital's Infection Prevention and Control Department. In other news, economist Carlos FORTE is not on board with government's plan to welcome tourists back to the island starting next month. In fact, the Barbados-born FORTE, who now resides in Canada, argues that government's decision to resume tourism activities by May 8, even with new protocols, is premature and nothing but a gamble.
The Motley administration has not learned from its missteps leading up to the December outbreak that led to a surge of COVID infections, deaths, strain on the healthcare system, and another mandated lockdown. Those policy and enforcement missteps ultimately cost lives and crippled the economy. It would appear that the Motley administration has a gambling problem. Once again, it is too eager to place a wager on tourism that could compromise the health, lives, and livelihood of Barbadians. Either that, or the government is not fully appraised of the science around COVID, its variants, and their pro-vaccines.
He added that while government is targeting vaccinated tourists, the country's biggest source markets have not achieved herd immunity and are unlikely to do so by next month. He therefore contends there's no real protection for Barbados.
Though some of those numbers may seem reasonable, there are a number of important points that must be considered. 1. On the current trajectory, the risk posed by the deadly COVID disease will only subside when at least 70% of populations become immune from the SARS-CoV-2 virus through recovery from infection or vaccines. 2. The US and Canada are not likely to reach 70% of their population vaccinated until the end of August. 3. The infectious disease experts, vaccine producers, and regulators still do not know whether the vaccines prevent people from contracting COVID or if they merely protect people from illness or hospitalization. In other words, do the vaccines make recipients asymptomatic or do they prevent infection? The implication is that people vaccinated could be COVID carriers. That is, if they have been exposed to the virus, they may be able to infect unvaccinated people. 4. The COVID variants are the X factor. Some approved vaccines do not fully protect against the South African, Brazilian, or UK variants.
In today's COVID 19 update, there are 9 new positive cases, 4 females and 5 males, following tests conducted on Monday, April 19, from 494 tests. 11 people were discharged from isolation, leaving 87. Since March 2020, there have been 3,793 confirmed COVID 19 cases. A total of 3,692 persons have recovered, while 44 people have died from the virus. The Public Health Lab has carried out 149,423 tests from February last year. To date, 70,884 vaccinations have been administered as part of the National Vaccination Program for COVID 19. The United Nations Global Appeal for St. Vincent and the Grenadines was launched today. The United Nations says the $29.2 million funding appeal will be critical to ensuring the country recovers from the devastating impact of the La Soufrière volcano.
Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, gave an estimated value to bring the red and orange zones back to their former glory based on a preliminary disaster resilient analytics and solutions presentation by the World Bank.
The total built asset at risk are evaluated at approximately $387.5 million US. In the red zone alone, the replacement value of residential buildings is US $64 million. Non-residential buildings, $106 million US. And infrastructure, which is there, infrastructure at risk, and much of it has been damaged, $83 million US.
He said the situation is evolving and the definite extent of the damage won't be known until the eruptions cease. United Nations Resident Coordinator for Barbados and Eastern Caribbean countries, Didier Trebek, said support for St. Vincent is necessary.
I really want today to launch a call for action. Greater international support is urgently needed. This will allow us to rapidly scale up our support to the government and the people of St. Vincent to respond to this growing humanitarian crisis unfolding before our eyes. We have no time to lose.
The funding will provide immediate life-saving humanitarian assistance, including clean water, and support a sustainable recovery for everyone impacted, according to the UN.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To regional news in the Bahamas, authorities have confirmed that there are multiple cases of COVID-19 in public schools. More in this report from Eyewitness News in the Bahamas.
Parents must come and collect kids for 12 because there is a positive case at the school. But me as a parent, I feel like if y'all knew this from this morning, why at 12 o'clock y'all just want to notify the parents?
Wilson says the number of cases confirmed within schools is alarming.
The majority of the cases are students as young as 5 years old. What is concerning for us, though, is that some principals and the Ministry of Education officials are not forthcoming with the information about the cases.
Eyewitness News spoke with a Carlton E. Francis School employee who reported that the school's administration was notified of the COVID-19 case last week, but still allowed students to return to school this morning, only to send them home at noon. According to Director of Education Marcellus Taylor, there are protocols for addressing suspected or confirmed COVID-19 cases. These protocols, he said, are presented in the strategic plan for safe reopening of schools.
Automatically, I would just say, well, guess what? This is an emergency. Let the kids go right away. And y'all still have the kids here 3, 4, 5 to 6 hours later. And then you won't have the heart to talk with y'all notifying the parents. Now, if I find out that my child is positive, is Carlton Francis is going to take care of my child?
Wilson is encouraging teachers to move circumspectly in light of the recent spike in cases.
BUT demands that the teachers be informed in a timely manner. The COVID-19 team address teachers and staff members, that contact tracing be done, and testing of teachers who are contacts of persons who would have tested positive.
Meanwhile, Education Minister Jeff Lloyd said today he was not overly concerned about an outbreak in schools.
No, I have no concern at all because we are doing what the health officials have asked us to do, and that is to maintain all of the protocols.
On the international scene, a jury has found former police officer Derek Chauvin guilty of murder over the death of African-American George Floyd on a Minneapolis street last year. He was found guilty on 3 charges: second-degree murder, third-degree murder, and manslaughter.
We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 1, unintentional second-degree murder while committing a felony, find the defendant guilty. This verdict agreed to this 20th day of April 2021 at 1:44 p.m. Signed, juror foreperson, juror number 19. Same caption, verdict count 2. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 2, third-degree murder, perpetrating an eminently dangerous act, find the defendant guilty. This verdict agreed to this 20th day of April 2021 at 1:45 p.m. Signed by jury foreperson, juror number 19. Same caption, verdict count 3. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 3, second-degree manslaughter, culpable negligence, creating an unreasonable risk, find the defendant guilty. This verdict agreed to this 20th day of April 2021 at 1:45 p.m. Jury foreperson 019. Members of the jury, I'm now going to ask you individually if these are your true and correct verdicts. Please respond yes or no. Juror number 2, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 9, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 19, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 27, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 44, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 52, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 55, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 79, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 85, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 89, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 91, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 92, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Are these your verdicts, so say one, so say all?
Yes.
Members of the jury, I find that the verdicts as read reflect the will of the jury and will be filed accordingly.
That's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.